Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be my month of June wrap up. It's getting really hot where I'm at. Summer is in full swing. It's going to be in the triple digits like for this upcoming week. But last month I did manage to read quite a few books. I went on work travel for about a week and I actually managed like in between like commuting and flying, driving, and just being in my hotel at times, I was able to like listen to some audiobooks and read on my Kindle and things like that. So I managed to finish quite a few books. So let's just go ahead and get into those that I read in June. So the first thing that I read was the audiobook for Natural Beauty by Ling Huang, narrated by Carolyn King. And this is a contemporary fiction with like horror and sci-fi elements sprinkled in. And you're following a Chinese American piano prodigy who has had to abandon her passion and finds work at this high-end health and beauty company that's called Holistic, and she is just kind of entrenched in this world of these revolutionary new beauty products and procedures to like keep you young and beautiful and all that stuff. But beneath the surface, there's something not right about the place, and it starts to make itself known with the narrator's own physical appearance changing in kind of startling ways. And this was a 4-star, very lyrical writing, which worked well for it, I think. There is body horror in this book, there's mystery, and there's some melancholy, and it looks at race and identity, and also at consumerism and like chasing perfection and beauty standards and just like the whole craze of wellness and beauty products in general. And like there's just kind of a lot going on here, and it was fascinating. For me personally, some of the moments were a little less interesting. And that was kind of like when the contemporary fiction vibe was strong. And that didn't actually happen a whole lot, but there were just some moments where I didn't really care as much. I wanted to get back to kind of the interesting weirdness of it all. But there are just kind of constant little WTF moments that just kind of like keep you hooked and wanting to see everything fall into place. And it was very good. I enjoyed it, and it's not very long. It's, I think, less than 300 pages if you read it physically, so it was a fast read. And now that I think about it, I think the narrator actually is unnamed. I mean, she goes by a name, but I think she might actually be unnamed. I don't think you actually learn her name. Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is a dystopian fantasy that takes place in a future where a flood has destroyed much of the United States, but one of the few places that survives is the Navajo Reservation, and monsters and magic have returned to those lands, and you're following Maggie, who is a loner and a skilled monster hunter, and she kills a creature that she has never seen before, which kind of kicks off a search for answers. And I gave this a 2.5 star. It kicks off real strong right off the bat with some action fight. There are some violent scenes throughout this, and I did like, you know, the dystopian setting, Navajo Nation setting, but I personally didn't really like Maggie. I don't think that she was written very well. She was written like she was just portrayed as willfully ignorant, it felt like, and the plot felt like a very linear like video game where the NPCs are just like constantly giving you fetch quests and telling you, okay, go here, now go here, go back there, now go here. And I don't know, I just didn't care. I liked the character of Kai. He's the guy in the car. He's like a pacifist healer and very much like the sunshine to Maggie's grumpy, but I just don't care about Maggie or the story really enough to continue the series. Slay by Brittney Morris. This is about a high school senior named Kiera who is secretly the developer of an online game called Slay. And this game is a place for Black gamers to come together and just have fun and be themselves. But one day in the real world, a kid is killed over a dispute related to the game, and suddenly that it's just all over the news and people are attacking her game and calling it racist and dangerous and just all these things. So she's like freaking out and trying to figure out how to save her game while protecting her identity and dealing with things in her real life at the same time. This was a 4.5 star. I really enjoyed it, and as a gamer myself, I'm aware of discourse around things like race and representation in video games, and it gets quite ridiculously contentious. So I thought that this book was great. It brings up a lot of things that Black people face, as well as things just like differences in opinion among Black people about what it means to be successful, or how to best support, you know, the cause. It was fun reading about the world of Slay and the game. There are also some compelling conflicts between Kiera and her friends. I don't know, I definitely recommend this if you're a gamer or if this kind of discourse interests you. It was very good. A Multitude of Dreams by Mara Rutherford. This is a fantasy inspired by the short story The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe, and you're following a girl named Seraphina who lives as a princess in Eldridge Hall, which is a building that has been sealed up for years after a plague called the Mori Roja sweeps across the country. And this hall is full of noble gentry, including the king, who have been just pretending that the world outside and its problems don't exist. And Seraphina wants to escape the manor. And separately, there's another character named Nico who works for this lord who sends him to investigate Eldridge Hall, which looks abandoned from the outside. And the two eventually cross paths. And this was like a 2.5 star. I think that it's not that long, but I think that it went on longer than it needed to, and it was slow paced. It did have, you know, some gothic vibes, but I don't know, it just wasn't enough to really draw me in fully. The characters were kind of whatever. The ending felt contrived, and like I didn't actively dislike this necessarily, but it was taking me forever to get through. So I listened to this on audio actually, but it just was taking me forever to get through it because I just never felt compelled to return to it. And I kind of had to like sit down, you know, do some work or something with my hands and just force myself to just kind of get through it and finish it. So I don't know, this was nothing like exciting, but there is Jewish representation and there are vampires. Not the sexy sparkling kind, but there are vampires. So I can see this tickling someone's fancy, but just didn't really work for me. Captive Prince by C.S. Pacat. This is a spicy gay fantasy about a prince named Damon who, following a coup by his half-brother, is shipped off to the neighboring kingdom of Ver to become a pleasure slave to their prince named Laurent. There is political intrigue. Damon is navigating this foreign court and, of course, dealing with his role as someone to be used as Laurent sees fit. And this was 5 stars. I've read a few spicy, smutty books at this point, you know, hoping to stumble across something that I like, and this is it. Like, this is what I like. I'll keep this simple and just say that BDSM just tickles that spot for me for what I'm looking for in a smutty book. And the author does it perfectly. Like, this isn't a, you know, fuzzy handcuffs and tickling with feathers situation. So I'd say check content warnings if elements of BDSM are potentially uncomfortable for you. You know, there are situations here that, you know, in real life would not be okay, and that's kind of part of what BDSM is. But the plot of this was actually good as well. The characters are so good. Laurent is a piece of shit, and I'm very eager to see how he and Damon develop. This is an enemies to lovers series, heavily focused on the enemies part in this first book. So just bravo, C.S. Pacat. I am shook. I am impressed. I loved it. I also really like her YA fantasy series, Dark Rise. Highly recommend that. That one is not spicy, but so far at this point, everything I've read by her, which is 3 books, has been amazing. Oh, hey boy. Lucifer. Oh, hey buddy. This is my cat Lucifer. He has been really needy and just being a mama's boy today. So I left the door cracked open for him because he'd been hanging out right outside it, and he pushed his way in, and hopefully he's not muffling my lav mic. But this is my boy Lucifer. Lilith makes an appearance more often, but here he is, my boy. I have to put you down. I have to finish filming. I'm almost done, okay? Okay. All right, so the next thing I read, I did read this on audio as well, Storm and Fury by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is about a human girl named Trinity who's living in a community of gargoyle shapeshifters called wardens who protect humans from demons. And Trinity has special powers of her own that are kept secret, and a group of wardens comes to her community asking for help hunting down something that is killing wardens in their area. And she teams up with a handsome warden named Zane to do it. This was a 3.5 star. It was nothing special, but it was a very comfortable, familiar feeling, you know, contemporary YA fantasy. Is very solid, you know, just a solid average contemporary YA fantasy. Trinity has a degenerative eye disease that the author also has, so there's good disability rep there. Zane was a nice love interest, like he wasn't annoying or cocky, he seemed like a good guy, which I liked. This series, the Harbinger series, is actually part of an established world. I didn't know that going in. It's the first book in a series, but it takes place, it's kind of like a spin-off series, I think, and there are several characters like Zane that are from a previous series, and this does reference things that happened in that other series, but you don't have to have read it to read this. The characters explain everything that you need to know. There was a little too much talking in this, just a lot of long conversations and not enough doing things. I don't think that I'm invested enough to continue the series, but I think that if you're a big fan of like Sarah J. Maas, you might enjoy this. This didn't have the same level of world building, but I think that the writing is of a similar caliber and vibe to Sarah J. Maas. And I'm not really looking to read other authors that are like Sarah J. Maas. I will stick with Sarah J. Maas. I'm invested enough in her characters and her stories, but I'm not out there wanting to read things that are similar to Sarah J. Maas's stuff. I'll just, you know, stick with hers. Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is an Alice in Wonderland inspired fantasy that's an origin story of the Queen of Hearts named Catherine. And this is before she becomes the queen, and her dream is to open a bakery with her best friend, but her parents are determined to set her up with the King of Hearts. She doesn't want to marry the king, couldn't care less about being queen, but she catches feelings for the mysterious new court joker named Jest. And this was amazing, 5 stars. I am an Alice in Wonderland stan, and Meyer does just a fantastic job of blending YA fantasy, prose and writing with the whimsical prose of Lewis Carroll. I just adored it. This has so many characters and references to the original story. They're fantastic. I loved Jest and Catherine. This made me laugh out loud a couple times. It just made my own heart ache by the end. Like, if you've consumed Alice in Wonderland in like any form, you know that the Red Queen is not a happy hero character. So as the end approached, things got more, ominous, and it made me sad. but this was great. I loved it. It surprised me. I wish that she had written more books in this version of Wonderland. And one of the last things I finished was a short story by Mark Lawrence called Overdue. It takes place in the same world as his series, The Library Trilogy, and follows a character from that series named Ute as he has to set out to fix this book-related paradox. And it was a 5-star, cute story, surprisingly touching. It's about like 50 pages, like 49 pages or something. I do recommend checking it out if you've read the first book in the main series, which is called The Book That Wouldn't Burn, which was also very good. So those are all the books that I read in June, a nice little haul. I'm very excited because I, within the last couple days, have kind of started up a book club amongst all of my friends. So I'm excited to get that going. I'm waiting on the pick for the person who's choosing this month's book for July. It's early enough in July that we're starting this month and we'll have the whole month to finish it. So I'm excited to check that out and see the kinds of books that my friends are interested in. I just love talking about books, and especially, reading things that my friends are interested in and that they want to share. So I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, this month was pretty good. Yeah, got a lot of reading done on my work trip. I don't know how much of this shirt you can see at this angle, but I got this shirt at Meow Wolf, the House of Eternal Return in Santa Fe, New Mexico. New Mexico was where my work trip was. I went there on one of my off days. It was a really fun time. But yeah, I hope that you guys are having a good summer, and hope that you guys have a good rest of your summer, have some fun things planned. I'm going to be going to PAX West in, I think it's August. It's always on, is it Labor Day weekend? Yeah, so pretty soon I'm going to be going to that, which would be really fun. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any fun plans for the summer, or if you've done anything fun already. Summer's always fun. I love the sunshine. I'm like a lizard. I love the heat, so I really enjoy it, but triple digits is pretty hot. But anyway, I hope that you guys have a good one, and hope that you read some good books, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!